Congressman Mfume, thank you very much for that, and thank you for your excellent remarks and for pointing out that it's only after decades of deliberate understaffing and underfinancing and political attacks that the IRS had grown so unresponsive and ineffective and vulnerable to ripoffs by big corporations and by the wealthiest people. But in the Inflation Reduction Act that we passed last year, unfortunately without any Republican support, the Democrats set about to increase the responsiveness of the IRS, to improve the effectiveness, and to advance equity there. The U.S. tax system is disproportionately targeted lower income taxpayers, giving preferential treatment to the wealthiest filers. When we passed the Inflation Reduction Act, it provided the IRS with resources to make certain that billionaires and large corporations would pay their fair share. Earlier this year, our committee held a hearing to examine GAO's 2023 high-risk list, which highlights the federal programs and operations most vulnerable to waste, fraud, corruption, abuse, and mismanagement. Enforcement of our federal tax laws has been on that list since 1990 for the last 33 years. In this year's update, GAO presented startling data about IRS audit rates for individuals between 2010 and 2019. Now, the dotted red line shows the audit rate for tax filers making $5 million a year or more. And you see the dramatic reduction in audits taking place of the wealthiest American citizens, less than 1% of the American people. Ms. Lucas-Judy, GAO identified that audit rates decreased for everyone. In other words, the IRS was much less efficient in general, but the dotted red line shows that it declined the most for people making the most money. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. What has the Inflation Reduction Act done to your ability to actually do the audits and to crack down on tax cheating schemes?
Well, I'll take that question, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it. It makes all the difference in the world. I mean, the emphasis of the Inflation Reduction Act is that if you are middle or low income, you will receive better service. But if you are wealthy or a bad actor of any wealth, you will receive more scrutiny. That is the agenda that we are undertaking under the Inflation Reduction Act. So we're using the funds not to increase audits on middle and low income or small businesses. We're using the funds and are laser focused on—
Well, why do some people not want that? Why is there a whole political lobby trying to undermine the effectiveness of the IRS?
That is a big question, Mr. Chairman. I've been in and around the IRS for a long time. I find that we're often kind of the poster child of government, and when you're debating big government versus small government, we usually enter the argument. But I can tell you this. I've been at the IRS in this role now for 7 months. All I find when I get there are absolutely dedicated, passionate public servants that want to do the right thing. They're not perfect, they don't always do it correctly, but they are trying to do the right thing. And we are rallying around this mission, this three-part mission that I've outlined. If you need to reach the IRS, you should be able to reach the IRS. For the wealthy and bad actors, we're increasing scrutiny. And third, we are gonna help victims of tax scams. We're gonna try to prevent them, and we're gonna hold the perpetrators accountable. That's the agenda, and that's the focus, and I really want the American people to understand that a well-funded IRS can achieve great things along those three areas.
Thank you. Yield back.
Thank you. The chair now recognizes Mr.